Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, with his luxurious ginger hair.
Isn't it magnificent?
I can't say it with a straight face. No, it's absolute filth. What are we talking about here? We're going to talk about Luke Cage, Season 1, Episode 8. It's called Blowing Up the Spot. Full spoilers for the episode as always. And this was another great episode. I feel like the show is really hitting its stride here.
This show's really grown on me.
It
Like, I
has.
thought it started good, but I wasn't completely into it. I wasn't sure, but now I'm like, yeah, this is pretty great.
I think there's multiple. I think I've always obviously we've been talking about the how it's a western the whole time and how there's been a lot of western influences that have been mixing with the streets of Harlem sort of
The
setting
crime
and
drama stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
and it's all sort of meshing together. But I think a couple of the reasons why it is like really really picking up as it goes is one, they're earning their big moments. They've been building them and they've been letting things grow naturally and been giving them the time. But I also think it keeps doing unexpected things. It keeps, they killed off the main villain halfway through, which none of these Netflix shows from Marvel have done yet. This is
Yeah.
completely new territory.
Also, just the fact that they show so much restraint. Comparatively, there's very few action set pieces, really. They feel few and far between.
So
There's
you,
only really been a handful.
so each one feels more impactful. I mean, I spoke about that when there was that car chase a couple of episodes ago, and again here, we pick up immediately after the sniper shot
Yeah.
from uh, the unknown assailant at the time turns out to be someone that Cage knows from his past, the person who's responsible for sending him to prison, which is one of the things we said that maybe Diamondback was responsible for that, and of course we find out also that he is Diamondback. He says, "I
Yeah.
prefer Diamondback," so we get that obviously throughout the episode, but right away, like Claire's trying to pick him up, and she calls her friend. They're in the ambulance, and it's like we see the guys chasing him. There's a good tense build up to even that, even though like it's after the shooting. It's like he's waiting to strike again because we
Yeah,
see
he knows he hasn't finished the job, and
yeah
he's making sure.
he's like the Terminator almost. The way he's hunting them, it's quite impressive.
Because you see him following in like another van, and then he turns off.
Even more specifically, it's like an army vehicle. It's a
Yeah,
one of those sort of flat army cars. I don't even know what the actual name for them is, but
yeah.
it's one of those, and there's some shots from inside his vehicle as he's looking at the ambulance
You just
in
see the
front of
back
him,
of the ambulance. Yeah, it's
yeah,
really great shots.
and
That.
it's really great tension building stuff, and the whole episode feels like like it's like because the other side of the episode, of course, is that Mariah is setting up Cage, and they're paying the waitress at the club to lie, and they're planting evidence, and all that stuff's going on. But it almost feels like there's so much going on for Cage on the other side of the story that none of that even matters to him yet. And
Yeah,
because
because
of this,
well, that's because until right towards the end of the episode, he doesn't even know Carmonth is dead. He has no idea any of this is happening.
yeah. But what it does though is it really gives this air of chaos because all these big things are happening at the same time. But like all the stuff with Mariah's all been building to, and it all feels really earned. Whereas this Diamondback stuff, as much as obviously they've been building to him a little bit, until towards the end, we don't actually know it's him.
Yeah,
For us, this is completely sort of mysterious. Who is this person? We get that he's from someone from Luke Cage's past fairly early on because he
yeah.
quotes the Warriors, which is a fun little moment actually. Uh, one of the things I like about him actually is that when he gets out his car for the first time with his gun, he's got this really sick smile on his face, like this really, like he's
He
enjoying
does.
what he's doing. Like.
Yeah,
Um, and it does the Warriors lines, which is like a callback to their past because they used to go and see that together or whatever when they were friends. It sounds like they were in high school or college together. They definitely played football together. That was something that was mentioned.
I think it might have been younger than that. Because obviously we find
Younger,
out.
yeah.
Because obviously he says, "Oh, they're actually brothers, right?"
Yeah, true, true.
Which you can piece together early in the episode. Because I did. Because
I did, yeah.
he says obviously, my father was a preacher. To I can't remember who he says that to.
Yeah, but Luke said his father was a preacher.
Yeah, but even if you'd forgotten that, even still before the reveal, he says Reverend Lucas, and then so you can put it together there as well.
Yeah,
It
but
gives you plenty of chances.
however, Luke didn't know that though, so that's
No, Luke
interesting.
didn't, so it's new information for him.
Also, can I just say, someone called Luke in a scene at the end of this episode had someone say something very similar to "Luke, I am your father." It's not a million miles away. Let's not lie here.
It's not.
No. So, I just wanted to point that out. It was basically that moment.
It was. It was essentially that moment.
And even the way he falls into the garbage truck is kind of like Luke falling down
Well, let's be honest. The Marvel Universe has not shied away from referencing Star Wars at all. I mean,
True.
Given that in Phase 2, each movie had someone lose a hand as a reference to
There was an episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. where Patton Oswalt woke up in Star Wars bed sheets.
Exactly. There's been plenty of it throughout. Some nice corporate synergy.
Yeah. I wonder if that's Disney. They'll be like, right, guys, come on. We want to make sure Star Wars and
Just
Marvel
what they're
feel...
thinking is, what they're going, it's going to be October by the time they're watching this. It's only a couple of months away from the new Star Wars film. Let's get it in their minds.
Yeah. Or the people writing it are all just huge Star Wars nerds, because that's pretty
It's more
normal.
likely, isn't it?
Yeah, for people in their age range, it seems likely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I liked the Warriors reference because it was like a little bit of like character texture. Because Diamondback's someone we don't know yet. We don't
Yes.
really know him. He's this like force of nature almost when he shows up. But we get a little bit of his character throughout the episode. We get the Warriors reference. We get him talking about his past, how vindictive he is when he brings up everything that's happened to Luke, and how he's responsible for almost all of it, except his wife. But he even says, "I still mention that because it hurts you,"
Yeah.
So we get that throughout the episode. But like I said, the whole thing feels like there's a lot going on, and it's all set in one night, which I love.
Yeah.
When the episode started, I was almost thinking the entire thing was going to be like one long chase, and it wasn't quite that, but it kind of was. There was just breathers in the middle,
Yeah,
rather
there
than
was breathers with the Mariah stuff, but it was essentially one chase of.
Well, I was
him
thinking, I wasn't even talking about that. Obviously, there'll be scenes of other things, but I just meant like with Luke specifically. Whereas obviously they go to the small clinic where I think it's a pregnancy clinic because she uses the
ultrasound
to see his wound. But I thought it was a cool little trick.
I did as well. Yeah.
And I thought that was all fun, and I loved seeing the gunshot that caused this like on the wall, so you could see, so they could clearly see what this thing did.
They can see what it does to concrete.
Yeah.
Like now, imagine that inside a person.
And the only good thing about that is, though, is him shooting him with that early in the episode means that when they go to hand combat later, there's a reason why Luke just doesn't demolish him. He's hurt, he's injured, he's compromised.
He's been bleeding out for hours.
Yeah, and it's not so much that he's bleeding out per se. He's internally bleeding. I should, to be more specific, because obviously, because they make a point of saying that he's skinning his tissue of all.
But he's in agony.
Yeah.
And
by the way,
exploits it to hell.
That sound effect when Luke tries to scalpel himself. Oh my god!
I know. That was tough to watch. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm okay with gore and all that stuff, barring like needles in eyes. I'm pretty much all right.
Yeah, stuff get in the eye, and I think here it's not the act of it; it's the sound of something scraping against bone that is just a little bit.
It's that nails on a chalkboard, but in context, which is bad enough on its own for most people, but then in context with what is actually happening makes it worse.
Oh god, I know. Oh yeah. But of course, in the meantime, they're all thinking Luke Cage is responsible for the murder because of Mariah, although Misty isn't buying it.
Nah, she's not.
From the get-go. Partly because it was like, if you look at the last episode, she meets Luke Cage, like, around that time, not long before it, and Luke very specifically says, "I'm not a killer."
Yeah, which is why I was actually unsure if that was going to be his alibi. Like,
I was thinking that as well,
I was thinking, how close are these timelines? What did they overlap? Because it wasn't very clear last episode.
Yeah, and I really like when Misty's show that she finds him after they trace the call at the clinic, and even though she's like, I still need to arrest you because of the evidence they found, because we're doing this by the book, and even though if she believes already that it's probably planted, it seems too neat and obvious and clean.
Yeah,
she's still going to do it by the book and arrest him. But that whole scene I really like, because it feels like she's gradually becoming into the fold, because she's very against Vigilante, she's very against him doing whatever he wants.
Yeah,
and I feel like the more the system screws her over, the more her new superior, who is Inspector, not Lieutenant. I'll point that out.
I'm certain she was referenced as Lieutenant before. I'm sure Misty called her Lieutenant.
See, to be honest, she did, but I've got a feeling that was when they knew each other before, maybe.
That might be it.
Yeah. See, I remember her calling that, but Just correction on the last episode. We called her lieutenant.
Yeah, you'll go out your way to any length to correct me, won't you?
Oh aye. I'll walk on water, bitch, if I have to.
Yeah, you would.
Oh dear. But no, so and she's getting frustrated as well because after everything goes down and Diamondback shows up and he threatens her, he makes her go down on her knees as if she's going to beg. And even though I don't think it was going to go sexual, there's almost a sexual undertone to him making her go on her knees. There's like the imagery of it is very
Yeah, I
submissive.
guess also the fact that it's in our minds following the ending of last episode and Mariah's stuff, so that kind of is part of the show, and it was not that long ago, so it's kind of on your mind anyway.
Yeah, and I think that experience affects her. I think she feels less in control. She feels, what? See, if this was a guy, I would say demasculated or emasculated, but I don't know what to call it with a woman.
I think it still works. I think it's still emasculated. Yeah.
But you know what I mean, though. Like she
Yeah.
feels a bit more helpless now, and that's where the passion and she goes over the line with Claire in the interrogation room, and she clearly is over the line. Like there's no doubt that her grabbing her by the neck is just no. You're like
Yeah. No one doubts that is over the line.
yeah. So even though we are questioning the because obviously I think in our heads the inspector's maybe corrupt because she seems so friendly with Mariah. I'm thinking she's not though. I'm thinking she's just like a complete.
It seems too obvious.
Yeah.
Given that the previous corrupt people had no hints of that, this seems like she's way too openly friendly with her to be corrupt.
Yeah. So, but it gives you a sense of where she is and where, she might end up needing Luke Cage. So it's funny actually because you kept talking about in the last episode how Luke might need a lawyer soon. It's like it feels after this one like he really needs a lawyer soon.
Yeah. Also, just to throw back to some where I said Claire might become the new Pops, and in that situation, it felt even more like that this episode. The way she was talking to Luke.
Oh yeah, Macho Man. No, I'm Power Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like he's grooming her to take over that role.
Yeah, I need a new old black man, and you're close enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Claire, you're close enough. But no, I thought that was all good stuff. I liked how the showdown, not the final showdown, but the sort of a big good bulk of the showdown between Luke and Diamondback was in a theater. There was because it made it feel theatrical. Pardon the.
It was very dramatic, and they were both playing on that as well.
And it was a great set, and then he was up in the high seats and he was down there. Everything about it felt like grandiose. But because the show hasn't been doing that too often, it kind of felt like no, that feels less cheesy and more special because it's and it again they referenced the Warriors in this, which was a gritty New York streets kind of movie. And the whole idea that this felt like the end of an action movie where they run into some random location where their final fight's going to be. It reminded me of those
almost
films.
even had a superhero where they charge at each other almost.
Yeah, although I will say I love that Luke's plan was to take out the column holding up
support pillar. Yeah,
the support pillar. Yeah, I thought that was a really nice idea and made complete sense for me to. If I have any criticisms of the episode, it's a small stupid nitpick. It really is. It's just one of these kind of logistically. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Does the driver of the garbage truck at the end not hear the gunshot?
I thought the same.
It's just a bit weird. I mean,
it is a bit weird. Maybe he just thinks it's a car backfiring or something.
Because it's not like he's far away. He's close enough that Luke falls into his truck.
I wonder if they have ear protectors on, because obviously the garbage trucks themselves are generally quite loud.
Ah, that's a good point.
So I wonder if they are given ear protection for their job, which would massively muffle that noise. Then again, that seems unsafe for driving with that.
It does, yeah.
Unless he just hadn't taken them off yet. He'd got in. He was in there, but he hadn't taken them off before he started. I don't know.
No. Also, it didn't do it too badly, but it did play with the whole we need time to trace the call thing, which is one of these things that once I found out was complete nonsense, and these days it's basically instant. Whenever it happens in a story, like a movie or a TV show, I kind of, okay, whatever. It's
one of those things that's so widely accepted, you just have to go with it.
Yeah, but I think it's also one of those things that eventually they're going to have to phase it out. Kind of like the whole the lines around the dead bodies at the crime scene, how they did that for decades. But as soon as people started to learn that that's a complete myth and no one actually does that,
Yeah,
it started to like slowly just fade away. Like they wanted to shy away from it because it was,
yeah,
like
inaccurate. Yeah,
it was in the public conscious that it was bollocks, so they had to stop
that's
using it.
true. But I don't feel like this is something that is that.
It's not there yet. No, don't get
No,
me wrong, it's not. But you know,
one day
I noticed it. Is what I'm saying.
I did as well.
So, oh, very good episode, episode 8 of Luke Cage. Obviously, Mariah as well is getting very upset, and she's still trying to convince herself she's not like her aunt. But
Yeah, it's like she's saying, "Oh, I'm not like you" to the picture, but it's like, but she's wondering if she has to be to fill that role of the boss
but
of the crime
she
family.
also said to Shades that she would willingly take out the entire like block of like apartments to kill that woman, so it didn't look like an accident.
Yeah,
Or no, so it looked like a general thing rather than a specific target. You know what I mean?
actually, when she says, "I'm not like you," I don't think it's that at all. I think she is very willing to be the crime boss and stuff. I think the difference is Mabel didn't want to get her hands dirty. She always made the men do it. Whereas she's like, "No, I'm not like you. I'm going to do it myself." Like we've seen her do. She's been very hands on.
Well, yeah, at least with Cottonmouth, that's
But even since then, like with everything that's like there, she's been at the forefront. She's been the one, not just planning, but she's like, "No, we can do this," sort of thing. She's
yeah.
very open and accepting of what she has to do.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that develops, and we'll see how Luke bounces back from possible grave. Obviously, he's not dead because it's his show, and I
The
mean
defenders yet.
they can kill off Cottonmouth 7 episodes in, but Luke Cage has to survive a bit longer. So yeah, so that's episode 8. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, it helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at @mailed_fuzz. There's more Luke Cage coming in the not too distant future. We should be done either by the end of Monday or sometime during the day on Tuesday. That would be my guess at this point, but we're going as quickly as we can. So, but also Westworld will be in the middle of all that soon. That will be the next thing that goes up, actually. So
Obviously, I haven't seen it yet. Gonna take a wild stab in the dark and say worth taking a break from Luke Cage for.
probably. Although that said, I think many people probably just binge watch this over like Friday, maybe a little bit into Saturday.
Yeah, anyone who's still watching this though.
Yeah, true. So yeah, that's everything. That's just a quick what's coming the next couple of days stuff. Obviously, more Luke Cage coming. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.